Oh, I love the photography in that film. I just have to, I watch it every time I can. But anyway, we're talking about Catholic Charities, and that's their senior and long-term, how do you say that? Senior and
caregiver support services.
Caregiver support
Senior
group.
caregiver support services.
And you're the executive director over there, at, and you're located on Erie Boulevard, right?
Yes, our offices are there.
So let's talk about Meals on Wheels, because you know, we heard that for a while back there that there wasn't going to be any funding for it, but you know, it's obviously you're continuing on with it. Talk about your program and what is this Miles in May?
Meals and Miles in May. All right, we'll start with the Meals on Wheels program. Yeah, some of the federal funding is at risk right now, but we're fortunate, and the funding that we get from Schenectady County Senior and Long-Term Care actually is not part of what's at risk. So we do have some funding through that. So we do provide our Meals on Wheels program in Schenectady County, where we serve about 400 seniors
really
every year.
That's
In 2018, we had just about 95,000 meals that we served to people.
Now, when you say 400, does that mean that they come to you or you go to them?
Nope, it's Meals on Wheels. We bring the meals to them.
Okay.
So we use mostly paid staff, but we also have some volunteers that we use to bring the meals.
So you could use more volunteers?
We can definitely use more volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers to help.
And the commitment is just to bring a meal to somebody?
The commitment is the way the program is set up is there's a route. There's up to 25 people on a route. So if you volunteer for a day, it usually takes about 2 hours. You go out and you deliver about 25 meals.
Okay.
But the commitment is for that day, every day of the week. So it's a little bit of a commitment, but it's a very rewarding commitment.
So it's really 10 hours a week? Or
no,
do you do Saturday too?
They could just do one day.
Oh, you could just do one day.
Yes, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, whatever the volunteer wants.
Okay.
But it's every week, so we have the regular schedule.
Okay, so if you have a free Wednesday and you say, gee, I'd like to do something on Wednesday for someone else. Right?
Absolutely.
So where are the meals prepared?
The meals are prepared at the McClellan campus of Ellis Hospital. We have a contract with them, so they prepare the meals there. And then our drivers go over every day and pick up the meals. They're kept hot in hot boxes and in coolers, so they're delivered nice and hot at lunchtime.
Do they get like lunch and dinner?
So if they qualify, if they're what is classified as nutritionally at risk, they do qualify for a cold sandwich supper. So they get a hot lunch, and then they also get a bag sandwich supper, which has 1/3 of the daily nutritional requirements in it as well.
Now, what would a typical lunch be like, if you can tell me? Or
a typical lunch,
maybe you haven't eaten one. I don't know.
I have, and it's basically it's a protein, it's a starch, and it's a vegetable.
Okay.
And then on the side, there's bread. There's usually a dessert, usually a fruit or a pudding, and a milk.
Okay.
So it has to match 1/3. Right, the 1/3 of the daily nutritional requirements.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah. So that's part of our requirements.
And it's a warm meal if they get a warm meal.
Yep, if they get the hot lunch.
And then if they get a sandwich, it might be any kind of sandwich.
Right, it's just a cold sandwich, usually then with also the fruit, the milk, some sides with it as well.
And so you deliver a lot of meals.
Yes, yep. Every day it's about 300 meals every day that we go out and we deliver throughout the county.
When you're doing your Meals and Miles in May, and your March and Meals, I mean, you've got a couple. I love your alliterations here with your M's here.
Right.
So talk about how you raise your money.
Okay. So what we're doing now, what we're launching, and it kind of combines with the March for Meals, which is happening now, which is really a national campaign for Meals on Wheels America, which was because it was in March of 1972 when the Older Americans Act brought on the nutrition program. So they recognize March as a big thing. So we do a special campaign for the week in March. Called March for Meals, of bringing meals and have special dignitaries delivering meals. That's more public recognition, helping people, really kind of see what some of these folks are through. So we as an agency have taken this opportunity to launch our May fundraising campaign, which is Meals and Miles in May. And it's not only fundraising for our Meals for Wheels program, but it's also for our transportation program, hence the miles.
Okay.
Because that program is also a vital program to the people in Schenectady County where we serve. We bring people to medical appointments as well as.
Okay, so you have other issues that you will cover.
Right, and our other lunch programs, which Andy from the JCC mentioned, our lunch program that we do there. So we provide transportation to the lunch as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I had no idea.
So, and we have 4 sites like that throughout the county.
Okay.
So our Meals and Miles in May is really about fundraising for Meals on Wheels and for transportation programs, because we're fortunate we get funding from Schenectady County to help us with that, but it's not enough to cover the need. So we are we're kicking off May as a business sponsorship. We're looking for businesses to sponsor and be our champion for these programs, and help us reach out to community members to also do individual donations and support for the programs that we do. So we'll be doing a kickoff event on May 1st at our offices to talk about really what the programs are about and why we need the money in supporting the programs. And then we'll be having lots of social media throughout the month of May of really kind of trying to kick up the awareness and the need.
I think the main thing is the awareness, because people maybe just not that familiar with what you do.
Right.
So you have to get your message out,
right.
whether it's through Facebook or any social media that's out there, or with organizations. When you talk businesses, a lot of businesses will encourage their employees to volunteer and to donate as well.
Absolutely. And that's for the business sponsorship we're looking to get in place before May. So we will be giving them their due recognition through our banners and through our social media that they are supporting us as a sponsor for these programs, and then asking them also, as you said, to kind of reach out to their employees for donations in any way that they can as well.
Do you have any sponsors yet?
We do. Well, yes, we do. Actually, we have.
We'll give them a shout out since they've already stepped up.
Well, as Catholic Charities as an agency, we have Fidelis sponsors all of Catholic Charities agencies. So there's our first sponsor. We're just sending our kickoff sponsorship out this week.
Okay.
So it hasn't officially kicked off yet.
But you're hearing about it here.
Absolutely.
So if you own a business,
and you want your name on a banner, it's going to be right out on Erie Boulevard for the whole month of May. We're going to have a big banner out there.
Can I ask you what the donations run? I mean,
like
$5,000.
The sponsorship, the highest end of the sponsorship is $1,500 and $250 for the businesses.
Oh, well, that's not bad.
Right, and then the individual donations are, typical whatever anybody can do. Usually, I think it's $150 and $25 is on our campaign.
So you will take any size donation?
Any size donation whatsoever. And like I said, the business ones will be going on a banner that will be right out in front of our building, right on Erie Boulevard for the entire month of May.
Yeah.
So it's a good opportunity.
So your Meals and Miles, I like the idea that I was not aware that you did a lot with bringing people to doctor's appointments and things like that. How do people sign up for that?
For the transportation, they call our office. So it's simply a telephone registration. When the first time they call, they have to get some information about them. And then when they have a need, they call the office, and we have a dispatcher that runs the program. They'll fit them in the driver's schedule. And it's a door-to-door service, so people, we can, if necessary, it can be escort too, so the drivers can go actually in and help a person out of the house.
If they have a walker
if
or something.
If they have a walker, things like that.
Okay.
Yep, and then they take them to the doctors, and then when they're finished at the doctor's appointment, they go back and pick them up.
Yeah.
And then it's usually very little wait when they're done. Some transportation services, there's longer wait. But
it's one of those things. I mean, if they've got so many they've got to do, it's, we should all be understanding.
Absolutely.
When it comes to that.
Right.
So if you want to support Catholic Charities and their Meals on Wheels program, or their Meals and Miles, these are important programs that maybe you don't need right now, but you may need someday. You want to have that available for you when you need it. And so you need to think of the person before you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep. Always about paying it back and being out there to support the others in the community.
Forward, right? Exactly.
Right. Absolutely.
Marlene, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today and at least explaining to our viewers what Catholic Charities does and with the programs that they have for the caregivers and for the senior programs. So
thank you
so much.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Poor People's Campaign. And there was a big campaign in March yesterday, I believe, in Albany. We'll find out more about that. Stay tuned.